Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for our latest webinar, 25 productivity and performance tips in 25 minutes. We're going to leave some time for some questions at the end, so if you do have any questions as they come up, please feel free to type them in and we'll answer those before we call it a day here. So without further ado, we are going to get started. So first, my disclaimer, I hate to do this to everybody, but we're going to be talking about some system setting tweaks here right at the beginning. So if you guys are familiar with what a restore point is, I encourage everybody to be a little adventurous and look at some of the settings and things that I'm going to talk to you about today. But it's a good idea to run what's called a restore point first. So that's actually our freebie tip number 26 of the day is click on start, type in restore point, and consider, if you think you're going to be brave, to create a system restore point. That'll give you an option if there are any problems, you can quickly revert back. As we go through these items, I'll tell you what things may or may not be likely to cause a problem if you do the wrong thing, but that's going to be very minimal. Going to focus today really, again, performance and productivity. All right, so first things first, let's talk about boosting your computer's login speed and startup speed. I think we can all attest that, I wish my computer would just start quicker. And a couple ways to do that are as follows. There's two tools out there. One is called msconfig, and that is for older machines. Starting with Windows 8, Microsoft actually built a startup tab just in the task manager. What these two items are is they are mechanisms that show everything that kind of runs in the background after your computer logs in or while it's even booting. When you install programs, over time you'll see that, my computer just doesn't feel as snappy as it used to. It's because a lot of these things, as you can see, I got a couple lists for you. When you install something, it sneaks other things in the background that runs on boot up. The more you install over time, the slower your boot up is going to get. So if you simply run msconfig, just type it in as you see here, you'll get this little pop-up box that I'll give you a bigger view in a sec. And it's actually just got a list of all the items that your computer's running on boot up. Simply removing the check mark by each one of those and clicking OK makes them stop. There's very minimal chance in here of turning something off that is going to cause a problem. You obviously don't want to turn off things like your antivirus program. Or if you use Dropbox actively for work, you won't want to turn off your Dropbox or your iCloud or Google Drive, because that'll make those things stop loading on boot up to auto-sync your files. But other things like the Adobe Updater, the registration pop-ups, those little icons for your printers, we can turn all those off. Same goes with Windows 8 and Windows 10. Again, the Startup tab under Task Manager, now it just gives you a list instead with an enable or disable option. So I'll give you a little clearer view of these two items. So there's msconfig and what it looks like. If you're not sure what some of these items are, it doesn't hurt to just ask your IT people before you turn them off. The worst thing that's going to happen in these cases is something's not going to work. So you'll have to go back in after your reboot and then just check the box back to enable it again. Same again goes for the startup. Any of these items that you say, gosh, I don't really use Skype for Business or OneDrive or my Dropbox Updater, you can speed up your startup by right-clicking on them and saying disable. On the top right of this, it's neat that it gives you an indicator of how long the last boot took. And it even tells you what the impact of these are on startup, medium, high, low. So that'll get your booting faster for starters. Microsoft's also got settings just to make things in general feel snappier. And these are handled under some visual performance, kind of hidden options, if you will. It just takes a few clicks to get there. And our recommendation is everyone always adjust your visual settings for best performance. What that does is it does turn off those fancy menu fade effects or the translucent windows where you can see things under each other. But all those cool little options that you might think are nice visually, they do just make your computer run a little slower. So that's why Microsoft made this setting simply called best performance. So I'll zoom this in again here for you so you can see how to get there. You'll go through Control Panel and then System. You click on the Advanced tab that you can see up there at the top. And then there's literally a radio button that says adjust for best performance, and you click OK. Your computer will kind of hesitate for a second as it's changing all its visual settings, and then next thing you know, it's going to be running in a simpler yet more responsive mode. You don't need to be an administrator to do this. You do need to be an administrator to do the startup stuff and the next items I'm going to show you for power settings. So you may or may not know it, but your computer actually is built for lots of different power saving options. By default, out of the box, almost all computers are going to be set for what we call balanced mode. There's also power saver, there's also high performance, and then some system manufacturers build their own power profile they might call like Dell optimized or HP optimized. What they're trying to do is give you a mix of good performance yet good power saving. Now, what we've seen in most cases with the advanced technology behind workstations and laptops nowadays, a lot of these are just going to slow you down and really not save you much electricity. If you have an older laptop, your battery's not going to be all that great and the power saving might not be as sophisticated, but especially for newer systems, we encourage you to try faster power profiles. So, show you again in a zoomed in screenshot how to get there. What you'll do is go to Control Panel, Power Options, look at your profiles, and then you can even click Advanced. Us techies love the Advanced buttons. So, as you can see my power options here, I start on Energy Saver. It's got Balanced as recommended, but there's even a High Performance mode. High Performance is great for all workstations. Very rarely are you going to benefit from anything other than high performance, electricity-wise. It's very minimal. But High Performance is going to let your system run at its fullest. Out of the box, it actually won't. So you can click Change Plan Settings, and then you'll see these extra options under Advanced. I scrolled down a little bit so you can see some of the settings that are available. There's one in particular, Processor Power Management. Under some of those energy savers, your processor is actually set to run at only a 5% of its max speed to save energy. Also, as far as wireless adapter settings go, most of the time the wireless adapter by default is set for max power saving. Newer technology laptops, they'll still run great battery-wise if you put it in the middle. If you're going to work with your laptop always wired, I encourage you to just use high performance. I'm sorry, if you're going to use it plugged into AC power, use high performance. That's going to give you a boost. So there's other things out there in your computer called background services. This is an addition to that startup stuff, and it kind of runs hand in hand with power saving, because some of the power saving disables these things for you. To get to your system services, again, you need to be an administrator to do these. You're going to click on Start Administrative Tools, and then there's an item that's called Services. What we would look for here is just program type things that we don't necessarily need. There's lots of system stuff here. Fortunately, if it's really a crucial system thing, it won't let you stop them or turn them off. But ones to look for and aren't really needed are like the Adobe Updater, the Java Updater. Those bug us anyway, right? Because there's always prompting us to update, and we would prefer our IT people handle those. But also, when we install HP printers or our graphics software for our graphics cards, or even things like Paperport, they all install services in the background that, in most cases for functionality, aren't needed. They're just for extra things that we don't usually use. Every one of these unneeded program services we can find and turn off saves a little bit of memory in our computer. The more memory you got free, the better. And right along with that theme, less is more in a lot of different aspects for your computers. And it's not your imagination. Computers do slow down over time. You probably saw all of the big list of stuff right in that first slide where you can see all the programs that build up in the startup. There's lots of other places in your system where old programs just accumulate and make things go slower and slower, both booting, operating, loading up other programs, and even shutting down. So a big recommendation is take a little bit of time and go through your system, see what kind of stuff's out there that you don't use anymore. Whether it's old programs, old rating softwares, maybe even things that are just taking up space. The leaner your system can be, the better it's going to run. And there's some examples of programs out there too that we just consider system hogs. Maybe they're things that you want to run, or people have said, hey, this is great, here's a cool new tool, we've had good luck with this thing. So let me give you some examples here. Sorry if I offend anybody if you do like these programs, but we strongly recommend turning these things off or uninstalling them for best performance on your machine. So WeatherBug, a neat little add-in that pops up and gives you weather and alerts. Let's turn that off. Let's get rid of that. Any kind of web browser toolbar, whether that be your Yahoo toolbar, your Google toolbar, your Bing bar, and then other programs kind of sneak them in sometimes even, whether you install Adobe, we've seen even Paperport or Java install other toolbars. Let's remove all of those. Let's turn them all off. The fewer toolbars you have in your web browser, the better it's going to run. It may not seem like they're doing anything, but they're constantly watching what you're doing. They're always talking home to their parent company about what you're doing. So they're also snooping on you in addition to just constantly taking up resources on your computer. Another one is Yahoo Messenger. Same goes for other internet-related chat type programs. If you're at an agency and you're looking for a good interoffice chat solution, we have some great recommendations for you that we can make outside of this. But let's get rid of those personal use type messenger programs. Skype is another one. If you're looking for a Skype type solution, there's Skype for business rather than the personal thing. And I'm going to keep picking on Paperport here just because I see a lot of agencies use it. There's a lot of other Paperport stuff that gets installed when you install it. Last I checked, there were 5 extra things it installs for you. And you really only need one of those, the printer. The other 4 can be turned off. They, again, will just bog your system down. We've seen it. So let's avoid those system hogs. Here's one for the IT folks that are out there, but this also might explain why things work the way they do. When we install antivirus, obviously we've got the best intentions of protecting our systems, but you may or may not know that they can sure slow a system down for starters, but they can even cause problems sometimes. So I guess this goes for the performance and the productivity side. You want to make sure that you've got proper exclusions in your antivirus software, and we do these for all of our customers. So how do we know what the exclusions are? Well, you don't necessarily always know, but I'll give you some examples of companies that do have them. Applied has recommended file extensions for data and index files to exclude to make sure that their software is running optimally and also not being corrupted by antivirus. Microsoft has a huge pile of them on the server side of things, and those include all different kinds of databases, whether it be a SQL database that your management system or other things run on, to just service databases for the things that hands out network addresses. They've also got lists of system files to make sure you exclude. If you're running things that use websites, they've even got extra exclusions for website files. So there's lots of resources out there on where to find what those exclusions are. Vertafore does as well. And again, this goes really for most software vendors. Always ask, well, hey, what kind of virus exclusions do you want to make sure that your system runs optimally and problem-free? And in today's day and age, I actually just did a ransomware webinar yesterday. We're always talking about protecting ourselves from viruses and bad stuff. I do want to caution you about running multiple antivirus or protection type programs. Separate antivirus and anti-malware programs typically do not run very well together. So this is going to slow your system down more than pretty much anything else that we're going to cover in today's quick webinar. Let's make sure that we're watching out for some commonly overlapping programs. Those might include Malwarebytes and Microsoft Windows Defender. We see a lot of agencies with one or both of these on their systems. The Microsoft one usually comes built in. Hopefully your IT people have turned it off already if you do have your own business quality antivirus program. And also, you don't need Malwarebytes if your antivirus program is good enough to do malware scanning. The one we use and recommend for agencies is Sophos. It has those things built in. We might run Malwarebytes just to do some scanning and cleanup if something little were to sneak in your network. But let's make sure that those things aren't both running and overlapping. They will really slow things down. And we're trying to get the most out of our system, get the most for our money. So perfect segue into talking about money, huh? Let's talk about computer hardware. When it comes down to it, more money does equal more performance. Unfortunately, we do see a lot of agencies that make the decision to go with the $400 computer from the special on Dell's front website. But we want to just make sure that you understand the differences with what you're getting. Not to say there's anything wrong with that as long as you understand. Typical lifetime out of a computer is 4 to 6 years. If you get the low-level one, you're looking at more like 2 years. So getting a $400 computer every 2 years versus a $1,000 computer every 4 or 5, think about the performance benefits your people get right from the start. Take that over the life of the system. It definitely makes more sense to invest a little more into your users' productivity. Some of those things you can invest in are SSDs. This is just a fancy tech term for the new high-speed hard drive technology. Let's spend that extra $60 to $100 and some dollars and get a super fast hard drive. When especially it comes to laptops, these will make a bigger difference even than in desktops. SSD is a must for any new workstation nowadays, unless you're on a cloud type system where you're running remote terminals. Then it doesn't matter so much. Processors also do make a difference. With the way things are today, Intel is just better than AMD. For productivity wise, let's just stay away from AMD for now. It might be, again, a little more economical, but we're talking squeezing every bit of performance in production out of our employees, right? Higher speed plus more cores does make a difference. So if you see a 2-core versus a 4-core, well, the 4 is just going to be faster. And if you see a higher speed, obviously the higher speed is going to equal more productivity too. It just means less waiting. Again, laptops do have a shorter lifespan than PCs, by the way. So if you're looking at laptops, you're going to spend more money on a laptop equivalent than you would a desktop with the same SSD and the same level processors. Or if you're going to spend the same amount of money, that does naturally shorten the life of the laptop. So plan that into your computer hardware cycle so you're knowing what you're getting, optimizing your plans for best performance and productivity. A little more about laptop, give you a few other laptop user tips. We recommend using Hibernate. If you're used to closing your laptop and it just kind of goes away, and then when you open it back up, it comes back, well, there's a few different things that can do that. There's sleep, there's standby, and there's Hibernate. Hibernate does take just a couple seconds longer to wake up, if you will, but what this does for you is it saves battery big time. So have your computer set to hibernate when you close the lid. It's another one of those power saving settings that I showed you earlier on in the presentation. Brightness also saves battery big time. Consider if your laptop has the option, again right in that same power screen I showed you at the front, to use what's called adaptive brightness. Most cell phones have it nowadays, and I love it on mine, where the laptop just has a light sensor built in and it sees how bright it is. And if you're in a bright room, it turns your brightness up. If you're in a dark room, it turns your brightness down, making it easier to see all the time, but keeping it lower when it can to save battery. Lastly, and this is kind of on a couple different fronts, both on the earlier slide about less is more, but then just making your laptop run better in general. Laptops, even more than desktops, come with a lot of what we call bloatware. When you get a laptop out of the box and you look at your desktop icons and you've got like 20 of them, or if you look down by your clock in the bottom right and you've got a whole pile of stuff down there, that just means it came with a lot of extra junk that's going to slow you down. Let's clean that up and remove it. Talking about server hardware real quickly, in the interest of time, I won't take a lot of time here, but a real important thing with servers, get lots of hard drives. Typically, server hard drives are kind of expensive, but more is better. And hopefully the more is meaning you're going to start splitting up your data. This is going to make it so you're less likely to fill up on space, so helps with productivity, but also things are going to run faster. So ask your IT people, do we have lots of hard drives in our system? And did you split where you put our stuff? Do we have the temp files and page files in one place? Do we have logs in another place? Do we have our data in another place? That's the way we always spec our servers and recommend that you do the same. Also, servers come with lots of network cards sometimes, where our PCs have one. Some servers come with 4 or even more. Your IT people should be able to hook those together to make it perform faster. Now, for your servers and your network cards to perform faster, we do need to take a quick look at your network hardware. So most people don't realize it, but you're going to get a good productivity and performance boost out of making sure you have gigabit networking, or that's 1,000 megabyte. If you remember the term 10-100, well, now we're talking 1,000. So to make sure you've got a gigabit in your office, it does require a fair amount of stuff. It requires you having newer switches. This is one of the things we see agencies do the least, actually. It's that stuff in the back room that you kind of forget about. But this is really the core, the heart and soul of your network, the backbone, if you will. So you do need fast switches. You need fast cabling too. Now, if you've had your building cabled within the last 10 years, hopefully you have the right kind of cable to support this. If your building was cabled long time ago, you might not have it, and it's probably going to be an expense. So that's something to talk to your IT people about and consider. And then lastly, you do need to make sure you've got higher speed network cards. Most machines in the last 7 years already have them. So no extra expense there. So that's a little bit about wired networking. Let's talk Wi-Fi. So when it comes to Wi-Fi, performance-wise, Wi-Fi is slower. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Wi-Fi is just slower. The new high-speed Wi-Fi, you can kind of pull them together sometimes to make like 8 different Wi-Fi channels faster than gigabit. But what most people don't realize is that almost no laptops have that stuff built in. You need to get special extra external cards to even take advantage of that. So that's not really realistic when you hear about a 3,000 megabyte Wi-Fi router. If you're getting that at home, you're probably not going to take advantage of even a tenth of that. So Wi-Fi is just slower. So when we're talking at the office, it's important to know. More Wi-Fi clients does equal congestion, so the more people you have on Wi-Fi, it will typically get a little slower. That's where you need more robust Wi-Fi access points. And then those newer access points and devices, they do equal higher speed, but again, not realistically, not faster than gigabit wired speed. Also, placement's critical. You need to make sure that you're getting your Wi-Fi centralized for where it's needed. Just because you have Wi-Fi covering your whole office doesn't mean it's going to be fast everywhere. The further you are from your Wi-Fi, typically the slower it's going to go. And it's meant to do that on purpose, just so you can keep a stable connection. Our recommendation for best performance is if you're working at a desk with a laptop, keep it wired, not wireless. That's going to be the fastest performing option you'll have. When it comes to your network firewall being as fast as possible, we like to say go big or go home. Always buy one size higher than you need spec-wise. Because most firewalls don't tell you that when you turn on all the cool protection tools, they actually slow down. So bigger is better when it comes to firewall. There's lots of productivity features in them too nowadays. If you want some recommendations, we're happy to give some. They provide not only web filtering, but the ability to have multiple internet connections hooked to them. And then lastly, performance-wise, you can do things like traffic shaping. So let's just say you can't get people away from streaming music. Well, you can at least slow it down. And then some of them even can take multiple internet connections and hook them together and make them double fast. So if you've got an old firewall, or maybe you're using your stuff that came with your internet provider from the cable company, this would be a great consideration for overall internet performance boost. Gonna flash out a quick list of some Windows hotkeys for everybody. Again, we'll have this recorded, so don't worry if you don't get them all down. But lots of great Windows shortcut keys just to help you move around quicker. I myself love to have multiple windows next to each other on my given monitor, so I use the Windows plus the left or right arrow to do that. Also, if you want to run things quickly, the Windows plus R will pop up the run box. I encourage everybody, if you're a hotkey fan, to go out and just do a search on Google for Windows hotkeys. You'll be surprised how many of them there are out there. These are some of the more handy ones that I've ran by. Here's some great free software tools for you. When I say free, the consideration here is they're free for business use. take caution that most free software is not free for business use. That's why some free software companies also sell stuff. But these are free across the board for commercial use as well. 7-Zip is a zipper program. PDF Creator, it's a good one to print to PDF and combine multiple documents into a PDF. It's not an editor, but it is a good creator. Also, RoboForm for password management. They come with a free version that'll store up to 10 passwords. If you're looking for more password management for more than 10 passwords, it's also a pretty inexpensive tool. Here's some cool built-in tools that you already have that you might not have known about. There's one called the Windows Reliability Monitor. I'll show you that in a sec. The snipping tool, my friend, I use it for almost all of our screenshots here in these webinars. And then the steps recorder. So snipping tool just lets you take screenshots by highlighting areas. It's built into Windows, so you can just type it right in the search bar, snipping, and you'll get it. Same with the steps recorder. This is cool for making little guides. If you're training your users on how to do stuff, just in your Windows search, type in steps. You'll get the steps recorder, and it will just literally make a video of all the stuff you click on, and even you can even type in comments, and it turns it into a production. Awesome tool. Reliability Monitor is another one. I thought I'd just show you a quick illustration. It's under Control Panel. You can just get there again by typing in reliability under your search box. And it basically shows you a list of your computer's errors and how it's been performing. And it helps you pinpoint when there's been problems of what changed in your system so you know what to undo. I love undoing stuff I did accidentally. You ever talk to your computer? They make it easier nowadays with Windows 10. It's got Cortana built in. It's kind of like Siri or the Google Now. So if you guys didn't realize it, you can talk to your computer. Check out Cortana. An even better option is Dragon Naturally Speaking. This used to be just a dictation tool, but now you can make your computer do anything with your voice. We just recommend that you invest in a good mouse. Not a Bluetooth one. They're not as high performing. We're often asked about PDF alternatives. Quick freebie suggestion for you is Bluebeam PDF Review instead of Adobe. It's like half the price and has all the features. Here's some Microsoft Office tips for you as we're getting near the end. Did you know you can save as PDF in Microsoft Office? You've been able to do this since like 2010. I've got an illustration here that you can see under Microsoft Word. Just hit the drop down and save as PDF. You don't have to go through the whole print to PDF then save. Just a quick little cool time saver. Another Microsoft Office one, if you guys haven't explored the Windows Quick Access Toolbar, that's that thing on the top left, again I think starting in 07, where you can just have lots of icons across the top on how to do things. I personally love the quick print option. It just prints right to your default printer without those extra 4 clicks. But also take note that there's more commands at the bottom. There are hundreds of things you can add to your Quick Access Toolbar. A neat program to power up your meetings and make you more productive in your meetings, Microsoft OneNote. For anybody in our cloud, that's part of your solution. It's part of Microsoft Office Standard. And you can set it up and organize yourself almost like a digital filing cabinet, where you can set up multiple notebooks, organize them into sections. It supports both handwriting and typing. You can make templates, it's fully searchable, and even have hotkeys to add your notes right into Outlook as tasks. Here's what my OneNote looks like. As you can see, I've got lots of different years for my work notebook. I've got lots of different sections in them, lots of different pages, and you can even see a template here. So it makes taking notes in meetings much more productive. Couple quick tips on how to use Outlook like a pro. Rules and alerts. If you don't already have them, there's great resources out there for how to set up Outlook rules. Just Google Outlook rules. And also, there's a lesser known tool called Quick Steps. This is where you can give yourself buttons to perform a certain action on a click. For example, if you, under Quick Steps, right on the home menu, click New, and we can tell it here to automatically move an email to in my inbox once I click this, and then auto reply with this message too. So, great easy ways to automatically sort and reply at once. 2 smartphone tips, and then we'll let you go. We think we actually made our 25 and 25. General performance tips. We get a phone that we're spending hundreds of dollars on with all these cool features, and I recommend you turn all those cool features off. Some examples of those are the eye tracking, the hand gesture tracking, the pick up and move action where you automatically pick up your phone and it starts a call. The more of those things you have turned on, the slower your phone goes. And then also, fewer notifications equals a faster phone. If you get pop-ups for every single thing out there, that means those things are running in the background, tying up resources. So if you shut off your notifications, your phone will run faster. And our last tip is an Android-only one here. There's actually a secret hidden option under Settings, and then Developer Options, and then Animation Scale. What this does, folks, is believe it or not, if your phone seems slow, it might just be the animation speed. Here, you can turn the animation speed all the way down or even off, and it will instantly make your Android phone feel twice as fast. I've done this on all of my phones. So I think we did it. We made our 25 and 25. So that is all our time for today.